We ask ourselves once in a while, how did we get so far in Copenhagen? And I believe that one of the main reasons is that this is about maybe 100 years of cycle tradition in Copenhagen. The bicycle culture of Copenhagen has been developed for 50 years, maybe even 100 years. Today, every child has got a bike, learns how to use it, and it's also very important that it's socially accepted to use a bike for your daily transport, maybe even trendy.
Jeg har aldrig tænkt på det, men selvfølgelig der er gået lidt trend i det med også nogle, pigerne har meget sådan nogle damecykler i nye modeller, ikke? Så man sidder godt som i sådan en lænestol, og det er ikke sådan nogle sporty-cykler, sådan racercykler, hvor man sidder og cykelhjelm, det holder heller ikke.
I think you can say that the bicycle is part of the everyday transport system in Copenhagen, and it's not very difficult because bicycle is very cheap. It's very good for your health and good for public health. It's good for the environment, and it's still very flexible and individual way of transporting. So it's quite unique actually.
Jeg ejer en bil, okay. Men jeg bruger min cykel her i Indre By.
Jeg cykler til arbejde, jeg cykler fra arbejde, jeg cykler til universitetet. Jeg cykler næsten overalt faktisk.
In a modern city, quality of life is very important with the environment, with your health, getting exercise and so on. I think that cycling in Copenhagen today signals those very qualities. It is very telling for us as city that it plays so large a role, and I think that this mark will play a great role in the competition between cities in the 21st century.
It's about 1/3 of the commuting transport is done on bicycles in Copenhagen. We sometimes say that we have about 1 million kilometers every day riding on bicycles in Copenhagen. This is one of the main arterial roads in Copenhagen, and as you can feel, this is very urban life. That's what it's about, isn't it? In Copenhagen we have developed a cycle policy.
First of all, we want to increase the proportion of cyclists going to work, of course. And then we want to reduce the risks for cyclists being injured. We want to increase the proportion of cyclists feeling secure in the traffic. We want to increase cyclists' traveling speed. And then, of course, we also want to increase the comfort when you go on bikes.
It's very much focusing on transport quality for bicycles. Including traffic safety, your health, the way of feeling secure, the traveling speed, the experience you have when you cycle through the city, and all those kind of things that supports bicycle as a way of transporting yourself.
Det er jo det er ikke noget, jeg har tænkt over som noget ekstraordinært. Det er nødvendigt, det er, fordi vi alle sammen vi cykler så meget, som vi gør, ikke?
Men måske også det der, at vi ikke tænker over, at vi har cykelstier, at der rent faktisk er, altså, at vores regering, og der sidder nogle mennesker og sørger for, at vi er en meget cykelvenlig by. Det tager man som en selvfølgelighed. Men det viser jo også et eller andet sted, det underbygger måske også det der med, at så er der en eller anden form for en cykelkultur, og den er ikke kun folkelig, den er også politisk.
You have to make it comfortable, you have to make it secure, you have to create a climate where people would want to go on bike. And there's been, for the last 30 years, a political will to do this.
One of our goals is to increase the amount of people commuting on bicycles. Today we have about 1/3 of the inhabitants in Copenhagen going to work on bicycles. And we believe that within 10 years we will be able to increase this amount to 40%. It's quite ambitious.
Hi, my name is Uffe. I'm 34 years old. I live 6 kilometers outside of Copenhagen. I'm an educated osteopath and I work in the center of Copenhagen. I own a car, but I choose to ride my bike every day to work. It's a lot easier to get in and out of Copenhagen with your bicycle. It's a lot faster and it's a lot cheaper. I get exercise to work and I get exercise from work. I hate parking my car. It's just too expensive, it's too much of a hassle. It's just awful parking the car. I think that's everywhere in the world, not especially for Copenhagen. This morning I choose to go along the lakes. Bicycling along the lakes is great. It's not the same route I choose to take every day. Depending on the traffic and depending on my mood, I choose another route and meet some other people.
Hej Jesper. Og så er vi faktisk fremme.
Mentally, it's a lot better for me to ride my bike into town. I don't get stressed by the morning traffic. I'm mentally prepared for my first client.
Godmorgen Linda.
It's clearing your head.
Velkommen til. Kom indenfor.
You have a lot more power when you've been bicycling to town.
Every time you set up goals, it is important to have measurements. It's important to know whether you have succeeded, whether you have reached your goals or not. And in that process, the city also makes a cycle account.
One very important part of the Copenhagen cycle policy is to do this every second year follow-up bicycle account. The bicycle account is a way that we measure how are we doing. We are asking the public, the bicyclists, what they think about our efforts. We measure key figures and we also measure on target figures regarding to our policy goals. For instance, we ask the bicyclists, what do you think about cycle track maintenance? Is it all right or is it too poor? And the last time we asked them in 2002, we get really the nice result that it was improving. And thanks God, because we spent a lot of money on improving, especially maintenance on cycle tracks during the last few years. So you can see the bicycle account, it works.
Hun går i skole ind i byen, og jeg arbejder ikke så langt derfra. Men hun er punkteret, så vi prøver at finde en cykelpumpe. Det er ikke lykkedes os endnu.
A central part of this cycle policy is to work with the traffic quality for bicyclists. In order to do this, we work with 9 focus areas. One is to have more and better green cycle routes. Another one is to build cycle tracks and cycle lanes. And the third one is to work very specific with the intersections from a safety point of view. We are in downtown Copenhagen at Nørrebro. This is one of the green cycle routes. which is meant to facilitate bicycle transport, both commuting transport and also for recreational purpose. This green route is part of about 100-kilometer network of green cycle routes planned all over the city.
Altså dels det, at man kan kombinere, at man kan bevæge sig fra et sted til et andet, og så er det også af legepladser og grønne områder. Jeg synes, det synes jeg helt bestemt. Helt bestemt. Det må vi gerne have mere af. Og vi kører faktisk en lille omvej for at køre den her vej. Så vi sparer ikke så meget tid, men vi gør det, fordi det er dejligt at køre, hvor der ikke er biler.
This is a typical Danish cycle track. We have a curb here and a curb over here, separating the bicycles from the pedestrians and the cars. In this place we have about 25,000 cyclists both directions every day. And we have, I believe, reached the limit and are seriously considering to enlarge this specific cycle track.
Man har virkelig sin egen cykelsti, og de er meget brede i forhold til andre store byer.
Forskellen er, at her har vi jo cykelstier, og det gør det jo noget mere sikkert at cykle rundt. Så hvis bare man er forsigtig, så er det egentlig ikke så farligt at cykle rundt i København.
The really difficult part is getting safe and secure intersections for bicycles. And here you can see one of our tricks, one of the pre-green light. Bicycles getting ahead of cars in the intersections and increasing traveling speed. And also you can see the blue mark crossings.
Altså jeg tror, at de blå felter får mig til at føle mig mere sikker, men jeg tror stadigvæk, at jeg vil cykle, hvis ikke de var der. Altså.
Cars, buses, taxis and bicycles are getting used to one another. And everybody knows that you have to take care of bicycles. They are everywhere, anytime. So you can expect anything from a bicyclist. And once you learn this, and once the car drivers learn this, you have a really safe and more secure traffic system.
You have to ensure that people can go easily and securely from one place to another.
Altså når jeg kører nogle steder, jeg kender godt, og hvor hun kender vejen, så er det okay at køre med hende, hvis hun kører lidt foran, hvor jeg kører. Men hvis jeg skal køre nogle steder, jeg ikke kender så godt, så tør jeg ikke have hende på sin egen cykel.
It's a Danish tradition. People have always been going on bikes. It's an integrated part of our culture. Actually, I don't think that many people really think about it. They just do it.
Jeg har cyklet lige fra jeg var barn på 6 år eller sådan noget lignende.
Jeg har ikke engang taget kørekort endnu. Fordi indtil videre så er det bare nogle andre prioriteter.
Lige så snart han kan sidde sådan på en trehjulet, så er det jo bare afsted.
Det ved jeg ikke. Hvis jeg har råd til en flot bil, så køber jeg sådan en.
Well, I believe that everything we do in the cycle policy supports actually the cycling culture. And it's very important to talk about it as a culture, because you have so many things to do at one time.
Ja, det er bare naturligt. Jeg ved heller ikke, om der direkte er en cykelkultur, men jeg tror, fordi vi har muligheden og altså de bedste omstændigheder for at cykle så meget, som vi gør, så gør vi det.
You create the possibility, and you try to encourage people to do it. And we've done that for years, and now it pays off.
Vi har lært nogle indvandrerkvinder at cykle, og de har haft 6 gange, hvor de har cyklet rundt omkring i byen. Og i dag har de så været ude på den store rute herinde, hvor det er rigtig, rigtig svært at cykle, fordi der er rigtig meget trafik og mange andre trafikanter.
Some years ago, someone got the idea that you should put up free bikes for everyone and it should be financed by private investors, by commercials on the bikes. And in the start, we had to help it a little along the way, but now it's really going well. And it's a natural part of the Copenhagen city picture.
We come from Italy, and yeah, we also ride bike in Italy, but there are not so many bike stands in Copenhagen.
Yeah, 20 kron, and we got the bicycle.
And then you get back the money when you give back the bike. It's more human, and it's for free, so yeah, I think it's a good idea, this city bicycle.
I believe it's also quite important to work on the experience of riding a bicycle. It should always be a nice experience to ride a bicycle in Copenhagen if you want to support this kind of transport.
Det er rart at få noget vind i ansigtet og i håret og kigge på byen, og der er mere ro til at kigge på byen, når man cykler frem for, hvis du sidder i en bus eller i en bil eller går. Så det der med at cykle, det er bare en god følelse. Det er det der med hygge igen, tror jeg.
Det er den danske hygge. Man siger jo netop, det her danske hygge, det er noget, der ikke findes andre steder i verden. I hvert fald, man har ikke et ord, der passer til det. Men det er jo sådan en stemning af, at man har det godt sammen. Man er nogle mennesker, hvor der er en god atmosfære, en god stemning eller sådan.
The level of knowledge about the environment, the discussion the last 30 years has had an effect, of course. But on the other hand, one must say that people's comfort is always a very big factor. So if it wasn't comfortable going by bike in Copenhagen, not many people would do it. It is a nice possibility, especially if the weather is nice. But even when it's bad, we see a lot of people going on bikes.
Det er okay at cykle, men motivationen falder lidt, når det er sådan vejr her hele dagen.
Når det regner her, så er det ikke så rart at cykle, men så er jeg vant til at gøre det, og så er det hurtigste.
The fact that so many are going by bike is a very helpful factor towards battling congestion. It would be a very, very huge problem for us as a city if people suddenly started only going by car or taking the public transportation. Today, actually, the traffic in Copenhagen is very fluent. If you ask Copenhageners, of course, they will say no, but compared to international other cities, it is a fact that it's not very hard to get through Copenhagen. And of course, that's a factor we are proud of.
Jeg kommer meget hurtigere til arbejde, når jeg bruger min cykel, end hvis jeg bruger min bil.
Hvis du har en bil, det er nærmest folk synes nærmest det er lidt fjollet, fordi at du kan komme hurtigere afsted på en cykel. Hvis jeg skulle finde ud af, hvilke buslinjer jeg skulle tage på kryds og tværs af byen, så ville det sådan set tage længere tid.
The way that we approach the future, I believe, is during the planning work, in the way that we integrate cycle facilities in every kind of way that we are introducing new facilities in the city.
Jeg synes, cykelforholdene er jo ret gode. De bliver jo ikke meget bedre herinde i København sammenlignet med andre byer.
Jeg kører hen og sætter min cykel mellem de 2.000 andre cykler på Nørreport og håber, den står der, når jeg kommer tilbage.
In the future, we have to work even harder to secure the possibility of people going by bike. In these years, there's a fight going on between pedestrians, the people going by car, and people going by bikes. And of course, if someone wins, other loses. And that's a situation we have to change. For instance, I would love to create a city where no cars were parked above the ground. You could create a city where you can park underground, and thereby you will have a lot of space that you can use for something else, pedestrians or people going by bike. The really important advice I can give is create the opportunity, the possibility of going by a bike and make it in a secure environment.
It's flexible, it's individual, it supports your health, it's a nice experience, it's cheap, so what else?
Det er nemt, det er hurtigt, og hvis vejret tillader det, så er det også rart.
Altså det er fordi det er praktisk.
Det er spændende, og det er sjovt, og det er frit.
Jeg synes, at det er rigtig rart med at røre sig og få den der motion.
Det bliver man jo glad af. Man bliver glad af at cykle rundt.
For det er billigst, og det er lettest.
Og det forurener ikke.